Thank you for tuning in to Elevated Arts and Healing, the podcast. I am your host, Amy Elevated, and we are here with another episode in our Empowered Consistency series. So today's episode is a little bit different because I have invited someone else on the show today to talk about cultivating positive mindset and gratitude. And she's a really good friend of mine. Her name is Kay Black, and we had a really good conversation about gratitude and positive mindset and how that has changed our lives here. So before we get into the episode, be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube, and go ahead and turn those notifications on if you are on Spotify as well, as we're going to have this episode on both platforms. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get into this conversation. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm happy to have you here today on the Elevated Arts and Healing podcast. I wanted to have a conversation about cultivating gratitude and positive mindset. And I feel like that's something that has been a theme the last couple of years. So I wanted to talk to you about it. So Kay Black, I'm going to give you the floor to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
You know what's happening. I'm Kay Black, photographer, videographer, musical artist extraordinaire. um, I'm glad to be here today to talk to you about what I do as far as gratitude. Hopefully, we can, say what we do and just give some new ideas to someone else who might be interested in practicing gratitude, because it is a great thing to do, a great practice.
Yeah, and it does really make a difference. Going through some things and having that positive gratitude mindset, it does help.
Definitely, I agree.
So we're going to go ahead and get into it. What role do you feel like positive self-talk plays in developing a more positive mindset? And in your opinion, how can other individuals incorporate this into their daily lives?
Self-talk, like my inside voice was not a very good voice. I was very hard on myself, all the time. And my thing was that I didn't understand um that things that I would say that wouldn't be nice to myself. I didn't even understand that I was being mean to myself. I wasn't aware. I started therapy. My therapist said something that changed me completely, which she told me that I was being violent towards myself with the way I was talking to myself. And that really, shocked the system. Of course, once I started talking, speaking nicer to myself, things change. Everything's changed. Everything changes. What Amy, Amy helped me to do was to start giving myself gold stars about things that I would feel like, you're supposed to do. When in reality, we do a lot. And there's a lot of things that you could just choose not to do. Um, but let me see, like what I started doing was just letting mistakes and things be okay. Mistakes are mistakes. They happen, move forward, and just really, if the most important thing is, if you get a negative thought, learn to correct it. I remember one example. After that, I went to the grocery store and I forgot my list. And I said out loud, it wouldn't be me if I didn't forget my list. And I corrected myself. I said, no, because that isn't me. Because I can make a list. I have the ability to do it. But before, that wouldn't even be something that I would consider as not speaking to myself nicely. But that is not a nice thing to say. about yourself, you know?
Yeah. I definitely like resonate with some of the things that you said. Um, I had a very similar experience with self-talk and like learning like I was being mean to myself, and that was in turn that's why I was accepting so many people being mean to me. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna be mean to myself anymore. Like I'm done with this. So I feel like it definitely makes a difference and it definitely starts to shift things. And if you are definitely working on boundaries, that's a good place to start because if you're nice to yourself, you're setting the bar for somebody else of what you will and will not tolerate. And if you wouldn't tolerate someone else doing it to you or saying it to you, then just don't say it to yourself. And that's what I've had to like tell myself.
Exactly. I mean, you're raising your standards for
Yeah.
not only other people, but for yourself, what you'll take from yourself, you know? You deserve grace. Yeah, you got to talk to yourself nice. You have to, because you won't let someone else say it. If you won't let someone else call you stupid, there's no reason for you to say, even say that was stupid. Like it's like you try to turn it to kind of make it a little bit nicer, but it's still mean. Like just because you don't say I'm stupid, you know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
feel like it made it a little better, but it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah, like I've learned early on, like shaming myself really hasn't worked, and I had to be honest about that. And I know that is, a lot of people's parenting styles, um, is sometimes like shaming them into doing what you want them to do, and that's never worked on me. And I started doing it to myself, and I finally had to be like, you know what? If I wouldn't accept this, then I'm not going to do it. And that really helped me start to be able to have a more positive mindset because I wasn't, around somebody who was mean 24/7. Like that kind of lowers your vibration a little bit. And
Definitely.
so that was really like an eye opener for just like starting to be more positive. You talked about journaling a little bit. So, can you share a personal experience with gratitude journaling and how it has impacted your life?
Um, Gratitude journaling, I feel, is so important just because, we're not computers and we don't remember everything. It's impossible. So when you start writing down, and the thing about gratitude is when you start making it about everything, when you start saying, I'm grateful for a cloudy day.
Yeah.
No. When you start getting into that part of gratitude, it makes life look different because you really realize you have so much to be grateful for. So when of course, your gratitude journal doesn't start out that way. You want to be grateful for the bigger things, but when you literally start to keep a gratitude journal so you can learn to smell the flowers and appreciate the small things in life, that's definitely a way that keeping a journal has helped me. So I mean, the same thing, it's fine to start off with thank you for my house, thank you for my car. It's fine to start there, but eventually you start to learn, hey, and then the amount of gratitude changes every day, day to day. So it's not like you'll ever run out of things to talk about, to be grateful for, and then also to go back and read those things. It definitely helps. It definitely helps.
And I think that's really important too. You said like you could go back and read it, like especially because everybody has their ups and downs and sometimes things get dark or, you know, tumultuous, but
I mean, you got to think too, like sometimes um when you're in those spaces, when you're in those headspaces, you don't even like you don't it's like you can't even remember, like you can't even
Right.
think about the good things sometimes.
Exactly.
So it's good to, you know what I mean?
Have a reminder when like you're feeling like nothing is going your way, like what do I even have to be grateful for? But you're able to look back and be like, okay, there are good spots in my life, they are up. So like it kind of helps you stay resilient and know that you'll make it through the
Bring it
tougher things.
to me, bring yourself back. Because sometimes, like, like you can get to, oh, nobody loves you, me, like my friends are, and it's like you could go into this place that is so not true. Like, this is not what's happening right now. This is how you're feeling, but this isn't, is this based in reality? So that notebook, it's like you might, oh, none of my friends call, none of my friends care. And then you go back 2 weeks later, grateful that my friends hooked me out for dinner, grateful that I got to hang out, we watched Netflix. And you could say this was just 2 weeks ago. So why is it that right now I'm feeling like no one cares about me? I think that it's very good for that. If you end up in it getting into those headspaces, because sometimes you just do, you know?
Yeah, so I guess my next question, we kind of touched on it a little bit about how gratitude can be a source of strength and resilience in difficult or uncertain times. I know that for me, like you said, keeping that gratitude journal is really helpful. And also, like I used to journal a lot when I was upset. And so I started journaling when things were really good. So I could remember, like, I did go through this, but then I also had this. And eventually, it's not always going to be this way. So that's really how it's like helped me to stay resilient, to know that, like, there's always something that you can be grateful for, even in the midst of bad things happening, and not in the way of like diminishing what you're going through, but just giving you a little bit of light when things are really dark to help you continue to hold on.
You say give you a little bit of light when things are really dark, huh? All right then. Shakespeare. Yeah, I agree. I agree totally with that. Cause yeah, it helps, man. Sometimes you just need a little bit of help. And when you can go back and read something in your own words, this isn't coming from someone else. This is literally coming from you. You know,
Exactly.
it's good to keep that journal for that also.
Yeah, I agree that it just hits different when it comes from you. And like it is nice to kind of have that outside stuff too, but like I said, it just really hits different when you read that and you're like, I wrote that. So like this must be, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but it just reminds you that like I'm a bad bitch. And bad bitches have bad days too.
Exactly. I agree.
So, in your opinion, what are some creative ways to express gratitude to others, and why do you feel like it's important for building positive relationships?
Creative ways of expressing. I mean, I am a hopeless romantic. So I'm always like, it's funny because I say like giving gifts isn't my love language, but I guess it kind of is. Um because I say thank you with small things. Like my friend yesterday, I wanted some kettle corn and a donut. You know what I'm saying? And she bought it for me. And it wasn't like it's a new car or it's a this or it's a that. It's just the fact of, you know, um, it made me grateful to have a friend like that would do that. So I think it's the same thing with me. Um, just I try to, if I see something, like even sending a meme, sometimes that's like I know you like something and I know you would laugh at this and I'll send it to you, because I'm thinking about you and I'm grateful for you and I want to make you laugh. I want to make you smile. So I think just a creative way is just that, just showing someone that you're thinking about them means a lot. And what was the end of the question?
Why do you feel like it's important for building positive relationships?
Oh, positive relationships is the best thing you'll ever do in your life. We all need community. They say children need a village, but we need a village too. Um,
Agreed.
so, it's having someone around you, and I don't even want to say around you because a lot of my friends, life be life.
Yeah.
Life be life, and some of my closest friends do not live near me. We may see each other once or twice a year,
Yeah.
you know. But it's just like, yeah, that's what it is. So like the positive relationships, like even with friends that I'm not close to, um, I could be having an issue and I could call a friend that's miles away, and they can literally help me with just words, and it's because we have a positive relationship. This isn't someone who is negative. This isn't someone who doesn't know me. This isn't someone who doesn't appreciate me or isn't, grateful for me. So we can have a type of relationship where it's always going to be a good thing, where if we haven't talked in months and we talk again, it's like we just talked yesterday. If we haven't seen each other, vice versa. So yeah, it's really important to build positive relationships for sure.
Yeah. And I think the thing with showing gratitude is like, you both pour into each other. So, or, if it's a larger group, like you all pour into each other in a way that is good for you. Um, and that way it's like nobody's just giving and giving and somebody's just taking. Like it's really mutually beneficial. And I think that's important. And just showing someone you're grateful for them. Like I know when people say that to me, like how I feel. So I try to find little ways to, like you said, like just something that they like and you see it and you get that for them. Or maybe you're thinking about them that day and you send them a meme or those little things, they do mean a lot. And it's just like, I have something else to be grateful for. And then that just, you feel love and then you're able to then like reciprocate love out again. And it's just like a positive cycle.
Right. Because another thing, like I do understand that like people aren't the same. And sometimes you have to understand how someone is showing gratitude towards you too. Because like I'm very vocal. I'm very vocal. I'm gonna tell you I'm grateful for you and I love you and I appreciate you, but all of my friends aren't like that. So, sometimes you have to understand what gratitude and what love looks like, even if it's in a different package.
Yeah,
I think that's important to remember too when having just positive relationships.
I definitely agree. Like everybody loves a different way. And I feel like as long as it's not hurting someone else, like, it might look a little different coming from different people, and that's okay. And then it just shows us also to like release expectations on what love is supposed to look like. Because it looks a lot of different ways, and that's the fun thing about being a creative. We find different ways to to do things. So, do you have any like unique or creative like gratitude rituals or exercises that you would like to share that maybe our listeners could try?
So, with me, the thing about me is that I feel like life is too complicated. I feel like everything that you do, it has to be a certain way, it has to be for a certain amount of time, and all that stuff like that. So I have tried to be less complicated with everything that I do. So one practice that I have, in the morning when I wake up, I say I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I only said all of that because I feel like when I used to try to get up and pray in the morning, like, like, thank you so much for this brand new day, and like try to get into like the whole thing of prayer, I would forget. But now, because it's enough gratitude to just say I'm thankful and I'm grateful, I never forget. And I think for me, simplifying gratitude for myself, it made it way easier for me to be grateful throughout the day because I've already expressed a multitude of gratitude with just two words because I woke up today
Yeah.
and I didn't have to. So even though it's just two words, it's a mountain of gratitude because I understand that this didn't have to happen. And I'm very, very grateful that I get to take another breath, that I get to have another day. And it starts there, first thing in the morning. And I didn't have to take any time out. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to, it's just there. So that helps me get to, I'm thankful that I get to get up and I get out of bed and brush my teeth. Yeah, like that. So that's my thing. And that's something that I would recommend too. It's like I feel like we have to complicate stuff when it can be so simple because you know what you mean. I know what I'm thankful and I'm grateful means to me. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. So that's my thing.
And I feel like that's important too, like figuring out what works for you. Like if you're a person that feels like they get into a prayer flow, like I would start there. If you just need to say a couple of words because your brain hasn't turned on yet, like me when I get up in the morning, I just say thank you and kind of get it together. Like start there. Like you're right, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It can be a couple of words and you just pause for a moment to realize like you have a whole another opportunity for like things to happen and for you to grow and for you to spend time with the people that you love, and it's important. So like just taking a moment every day wherever in that day it is for you. Like I do like to start my day with it, but if I don't, like just taking maybe a break and being like, I'm thankful for my breath, or you're stretching and you're thankful for your movement. Like, anytime during the day, as long as you kind of give yourself that moment, it does ground you and bring you back.
Mm-hmm. Because it's sometimes it's easy to just take everything for granted, because you don't go to sleep, be like, oh, this is the last time I'm going to sleep. like you're not thinking about that. So you just expect them to wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? So it's really easy just to like get up and go about your day. But it's like that's why it really is a practice of gratitude because you just start to understand that yeah, it to me it makes everything look different.
Yeah. It was really great talking with you today. I really like having conversations like this with you, like about gratitude and things like that. It just helps, open my eyes to different things that work for me that maybe I wouldn't have known if we hadn't talked, and kind of like converge it with the things that I already do. So I want you to tell our listeners where they can find you and your work.
So you can find me on Instagram at it's K Black. That's ITSKBLACK. Um, I also have my YouTube page. It's K Blaze. That's ITSKBLAZE. KBLAZ as in zebra, E as in Edward. Um, just come looking for me. I'm here, you know.
And is there any like advice that you would leave our listeners with before we sign off?
Um, just period or like
Yeah,
about,
just in general. I mean, it could be about what we talked about, but
oh man. I mean, if I could give some advice, it would be to live your life because a lot of times we live our lives just off of what people think or what other people want or, etc. We sacrifice ourselves for others a lot. And you have to be happy, man. I mean, really, really, it's like if this is the only one we get, if this is the only one that we get, it's like you might as well do everything that makes you happy and everything that you want to do. And just I think something that's helped me is to just try some shit. Just try
Mhm.
it. I started jujitsu. I'm taking an archery class. I started practicing breath work. Um, it's like I started playing the drums. I started learning to dance. You know,
I love it.
if you don't, how will you know what you like? How will you know what your thing is? And even if you have a thing, what if you have more than one thing?
Hmm.
How will you know? I would say anything that has a free trial, I'm jumping on it. I'm jumping on it.
Yeah.
And you do, I don't care what you're doing. I'm about to go do the rowing, the boat rowing that they do
Oh, nice.
on the big like dragon boat with the person in the back with the drum, like just cause. So that would be my advice to live your life, be happy, you know what I'm saying, and try some shit.
I like that. I like that. I'm here for it. Definitely, to your heart's content, figure out what you like and what you don't like, and you have to do it to figure that out.
Mhm.
So that is it for today.
Oh.
Thank you for having a nice conversation with me and coming on my podcast. I'm really grateful for you doing this with me
I
today.
got this. You get it? You get it? Yeah, I'm very grateful to have been able to do this interview. Thank you for inviting me.
So that concludes our episode today on cultivating a positive mindset and gratitude. K Black is super awesome, and I'm going to make sure that I have all of her socials and everything that she listed in the description, either on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever you're listening to this podcast today. The next episode is going to be really, really good. So stay tuned. We got some more things coming up in this Empower Consistency series, and I'm excited to share it with you. So, as always, love yourselves, make good decisions, and I will see y'all later.